Hello, I'm Brandon, and welcome to my presentation on the comparison of John Thompson's piano course versus music for little Mozarts. Let's get started. Because it is impossible to come to the table of evaluation without already having some preconceived ideas and some biased perspectives, it's important to know the lenses through which I would view all teaching material. Priority number one, economic viability. How do I make money? How do I make a sustainable living in this endeavor? That lens helps me focus in on the tools that I need to accomplish that goal. The second priority is how do I balance number one with the pedagogical concepts that I hold dear? And how do I take those pedagogical concepts and match them to the various ambitions of students? We all have students that may not practice, and then those that practice 2, 3, even 4 hours a day. Granted, that last category are less and less. The third priority is how do I evaluate the needs of my clients, my students, and match their needs with curriculum. These three lenses help me evaluate the tools I use in my studio. All right, so welcome to the section dealing with John Thompson's piano methods. Before we begin, I think 2 disclaimers are necessary. One, I think you can have a great curriculum. It's cognitively developed well, it's sound in its pedagogy, but a bad teacher, child still won't learn. But you can have an A-OK method, and even one that's not so great, but a fantastic teacher, one that motivates, inspires, and breaks down sequential information appropriate to that person. And that person will learn, that child will learn, be motivated to pursue knowledge about the instrument. And the second precept is, I really and truly believe that at 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe even 9, 10, we don't always remember what the teacher taught us. We can remember how they made us feel about ourselves and the instrument. So if I talk passionately about the pros and cons of these, I am very much well aware that people are out there using this curriculum, but I'm just going to state my opinion, knowing that even if you have a good curriculum, if the teacher is not engaging the student, you're not going to make much progress. So here we go on John Thompson. If you were to look them up on Amazon, you'll find 3 different types of books. And I'm going to share my trusty iPad screen here with you so you can see what I'm seeing. We have the John Thompson's Modern Piano Course for the piano, and then there's John Thompson's Easiest Piano Course, and then there's Teaching Little Fingers to Play. First, John Thompson's Modern Piano Course. There's the big red book. If you've been around piano teaching at all, you've seen it. Check out the date, boys and girls. 1937. Decades, generations of piano players have been brought up on John Thompson. John Thompson was a leading piano teacher in the 20th century. And we're going to take a quick glance through this book. Let me get out of this screen here. It is designed, let me get to that little note he had at the beginning. This is the first grade book. It says this book is the first grade student of any age, and it is assumed the student has had some preliminary piano work. The big red book, grade 1, is not designed as the first book for the true beginner. Matter of fact, we're going to go take a look at some of the first assignments after the, oh, check out the graphics. Woo, modern. Check out the first exercises. Right away, they're assuming the child or beginning student can play both hands together and has some basic rudimentary rhythmic understanding. And we start talking about patterns such as the phrasing of the legato and musical form. But what I found interesting in this book is if I scroll all the way to the end, let's just see what he thinks the ending student should be like. Oh wow, check that out. That's level 1 for John Thompson. You wouldn't see this complexity like in Faber and Faber or Alfred Premier. Oh man, level 2. So well, I mean, it's particularly that part right there. That's 4 parts. So there's level 3. So his idea of progression is quite rapid. Oh, 4 sharps. Check that out. Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't expect my students, like with Faber and Faber, to see this until man, end of level 3? That's interesting. So I think, here's how I would use this book if I had to use this book. I would use it as a backup for giving a student more material to sight read after they've been through one of the methods that I prefer. The progression on this is so fast, even with level 1, that I find it not, look at, oh, there's 3 flats. Wow. I don't find it conducive for the average student that I've taught and seen over the last 12 years. It's just, it progresses too quickly, and they would be bogged down on the same song, and or not even be technically ready to play some of this stuff. Definitely not level 1. So that's very, oh, woo, check out the modern stuff there. The floppy disk. So there's a little overview of the big red book. Wow. It says level 1, but in my opinion, it's definitely, by more modern standards, it's end of level 2 and sometimes into level 3. A great book to use if you don't have any other material for them to sight read through it. All right, welcome to our section dealing with music for little Mozarts. And I don't mind admitting that I am really biased toward this curriculum. I have used it for years and absolutely love it with my little ones. So let's dive in to what's happening, what's available with music from little Mozarts. As you can see here on the screen, we have a lot of supplementary material that go along with the lesson books. There are 4 lesson books, or 4 levels, and these are designed for the 4, 5, 6, and maybe even 7-year-old. They've never touched the piano before, and they are designed to help that child learn spatial and tactile awareness of the instrument. Every level has a discovery book, which is like an ear training, maybe a little rhythm and some coloring that's involved. And that is the same thing with the workbooks. They have a recital book, and this is the supplementary part I want to talk about that's available with each level of music for little Mozarts. We got a note speller or sight reader. We've got a sacred book. Oh, look at that. That's a coloring book. Wow. We got Christmas. And this is all just page 1, folks. And you have, oh, get a hold of this. Internet's a little slow. Toys. Even flashcards. How cute is this? Because the little Mozart series is built around these characters, the bear and the mouse. And we're going to figure out how that comes into play and works. Let's take a look here at a book here. This is level 1. Oh, let me just go back here and zoom in there. Roman numerals, so that's I think 1999, right? So we're talking about almost more than 60 years after the release of John Thompson. So let's just dive into this real quick and take a, yep, there's our bear and Mozart mouse. And right away, the first lesson is not about reading notes. It's not even playing particular notes on the piano. It's bears make low sound. And where are low sounds found on the piano? So you can imagine the first lesson, we're making noise together. You know, on the black keys. High sounds way up here, like a mouse. And then what direction do we go? High sounds go up. Low sounds go this way, to the left. Now we can make low sounds, we can make loud sounds, and we can make soft sounds. And finally we start talking about hands. Notice John Thompson didn't talk about hands a bunch. There wasn't a whole bunch of time spent on where's your right hand, where's your left hand. You'd be surprised how much of my lessons are spent the other right hand or the other left hand, because we're still learning them. And what are the finger numbers? I love how much time is taken here to absorb, and oh, they got cute little names. Wiggle finger number 1, the thumbkin, the pointer, the tall man. Oh, this is great. Very exciting for a little child. Now we get to play on the black keys. I love the storyline behind the bear and the mouse that go along with the progress. I play the low black keys, and the student follows suit. Here's where that rote training comes in. Play the 2 black keys that are high up. We haven't associated them with any hieroglyphics on the page yet. This is page 15, and now we're going to talk about quarter notes. Let's beat it out for a while. What's that feel like? Can you keep a steady beat? And then I get over here, now I'm going to associate finger numbers with hieroglyphics. I'm using that word because to them, it's just, might as well be reading Greek, right? I'm just going to play. And look how how beautiful arrangement the teacher has. They can do a duet. I love this because right away, by the second lesson, or maybe in the first lesson, depending on how old they are, we can get to making music together. I make up something, right? They're just sitting there playing the two black keys. We're having fun. We're making music. We're developing intonation, and we're learning how to keep a steady tempo. 3 black keys. Left hand, right hand, we're just one finger at a time. Look how well this works for a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old, even a 6-year-old. Let's take a look at the end. What's happening at the end of this book? We're not even talking about staff. We're hand-eye coordination. How do we keep a good tempo? How do we understand rhythm? It's only until you get to in the level 2, you start reading notes on the staff. And it's only one note at a time. And to make this even more attractive, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at what happens with this curriculum. I'll just choose my student Ben here. That whole curriculum is available on Piano Maestro. If you have not familiar with Piano Maestro, you have to use it in your studio. Matter of fact, here it is, Music for Little Mozarts. Their whole songs are here. So we have this backing track right away. The child, once they learn where it's at on the piano, we can play with this. It may sound boring, but to them, they're making music, right? Wow, look at that. And we get some stars. Yay! I got 100. I may know what I'm doing, folks. So if you haven't used Piano Maestro, I encourage you to check it out. It works great in conjunction with this curriculum and makes for an awesome dynamic learning experience. So in conclusion, and without wanting to step on anyone's toes, especially my die-hard John Thompson lovers, I am in strong favor of using Music for Little Mozart's curriculum because of its slow progression, the amount of supplemental material on each level, the amount of engagement that it provides for those young minds, the 5, 6, and 7-year-olds, and because, and this is the primary reason, it allows me to create an environment so that those little ones can experience on a weekly basis this feeling of accomplishment, and you keep that morale, the momentum up. Most of the stuff with John Thompson, they are going to sit there and struggle and have to practice over and over and over. Particularly stuff at the end of level 1. That young child would be there for 20 minutes a day on one song for 3 or 4 weeks. That's what I had as a kid, and it was horrible. I hated it. My goal with a 5 and 6-year-old is to not get you to hate it, but to develop this innate sense of love because I brought the inspiration. I brought the motivation to the table for you. And this is why I favor Music for Little Mozarts.